Greetings, Dragon Warriors. This is Matt Patrick. You know, for a panda that's very exhausted for climbing upstairs, Poe doesn't seem that tired into making more sequels. DreamWorks Animation seems to have an interesting beginning in 2024. They first released the only animated streaming movie under their belt that turned out to be very good, Orion in the Dark. They made a pilot to a Megamind series which also serves as a sequel, which ultimately became a universally despised film in DreamWorks history despite being a TV pilot to a Peacock exclusive. And then came Kung Fu Panda 4, which is pretty much all over the place after it came out. Yeah, we're not even halfway through the year and DreamWorks is already going through a spiral. I have already discussed my thoughts on the Kung Fu Panda movies in the past, where I liked the first one, loved the sequel, and thought the third one was good and had a more fitting ending to the series. So even though I really enjoyed their movies, Kung Fu Panda 4 is ironically a DreamWorks sequel I didn't really ask to continue. The third movie felt like it was trying to send a message that Poe's journey is ending unless he's coming back for more TV shows. And I'm sure a lot of movie fans have pointed out whenever someone plots a fourth movie to a franchise, especially on animation, it's not always a good sign. And I have seen some movies where 4 is not considered a lucky number for some franchises. The only anime franchise that ever broke that curse are the Toy Story movies. Now, seeing how I do enjoy the Kung Fu Panda movies, I'm still open to the idea of what they can bring, so I'm willing to give movie number 4 a chance. Welcome to another episode of The One Reviews. Let's see what kind of legend this sequel turns out to be. This is my review of Kung Fu Panda 4. In this follow-up, Poe, once again voiced by Jack Black, is going to pass the torch to the new Dragon Warrior because Master Shifu, again voiced by Dustin Hoffman, says he's ready for his next step on being the spiritual leader. But before Poe can decide, a new villain called the Chameleon, played by Viola Davis, is planning to take over the world by releasing the Spirit Realm and consume all the Kung Fu from the warriors of the past. Poe comes across a fox thief named Jin, played by Awkwafina, who just so happens to know the whereabouts of this new threat. So Poe and Jin had to travel to Juniper City, take down the Chameleon while learning a lesson about changing. Now here are the strengths and weaknesses of the film. The part about passing the Dragon Warrior to someone else is actually pretty intriguing. It does give out a sense on passing on the next generation of Kung Fu and being prepared for the future. It's a subtle callback to one of the Legends of Awesomeness episodes, I'll Be Back, where Master Shifu explained that there was another Furious 5 before the Furious 5 Poe knew and made friends with. And yes, I will address that part later. Another thing I like about this movie is the message of change. It's true, change can be pretty scary, like when Poe has to give up his title on being the Dragon Warrior, but sometimes running from change doesn't make the problem go away. The best option for accepting this new alteration is by simply pushing forward than backwards. This fourth movie has all the material it needed to make Kung Fu Panda a great animated tetralogy. However, there is a major problem with the plot and doesn't even hide its Achilles heel, and that is the formula to the Kung Fu Panda movies. Now, there's nothing wrong with formulas, we do need them once in a while, and they have worked in the past like Scooby-Doo and Phineas and Ferb because they managed to twist things around a little to even their own routine. Kung Fu Panda 4, on the other hand, is going through the same Dragon Warrior journey that's been done before in the previous films. Poe gets a new promotion, a new villain appears, and Poe has to defeat the villain and understand what it means to be the Dragon Warrior, the hero of black and white, a teacher, or in this case, a spiritual leader. Speaking of the Dragon Warrior, that's another issue that the movie really missed the opportunity to take advantage of. Since Poe is going on a journey with Jin and sometimes his dad, it makes the plot extremely predictable on how the heroes are going to defeat the villain and who will become the new Dragon Warrior, since the fourth movie was unable to open more options on who else it could have been. If the movie added other prominent candidates, it wouldn't make it less predictable, or better yet, more fun to guess who Poe might pick. But Kung Fu Panda is not only known for its epic action scenes, the franchise is also comedy, and the humor of the film seems funny enough. There are some funny one-liners, visual gags, and even the slapstick makes the movie enjoyable to watch all the way through. If there had to be one explanation why the plot missed its true potential, it'll probably be because the movie had a director and co-director. Yet the director doesn't seem to share his share of 50-50, and he was also the executive producer. And there were several ideas scrapped before the final project. Some had real potential from the co-director, like Shifu and Tai Lung having a major role, and then there were some from the director that thought they would put in real people in an animal movie. That's right, they originally planned to put in real people and make it to an animated live-action hybrid. Yeah, we definitely dodged a bullet. Would you totally buy that people actually exist in the Kung Fu Panda universe? My unpaid interest multiverse invention worked! I am in another world! Fear!
Hear me, peasants! You are all my prisoners for my brand new zoo! Cower before your new master, King Hunter!
Yeah, no.
Aw, nuts.
I have good news and bad news about the characters. The good news is that the characters are still the same as we remember from the first 3 movies, and the new ones are pretty likable thanks to their voice performances. The bad news though, due to the plot's predictability, there have been many missed opportunities on how they use the characters throughout Poe's journey, even the ones that don't take part on his mission or the chameleon scheme. And yes, I'm ready to get this out of the way, the Furious 5 are nowhere to be found in this chapter. Even with a couple of name drops and small cameos, the producers of the film decided to cut them from the adventure. Why?
Budget cuts.
Right you are! Even though Universal is the richest studio to this day, the Kung Fu Panda movies are less than $200 million in budget, and they already brought in big-time celebrities like Jack Black, Awkwafina, Jing Hong, and more. They couldn't bring back Angelina Jolie, Jackie Chan, Seth Rogen, Lucy Liu, and David Cross because of budget cuts. So they decided to let the Furious 5 go on their own little adventure in hopes they'll get a spin-off later, even though we kinda already had that in one of the 2D specials. The problem with this cut idea is not because the Furious 5 are not going to help Poe this time, but when you add in the Dragon Warrior plot into the story, it becomes a huge missed opportunity to have all 5, especially Tyra, to be possible candidates to be the new Dragon Warrior. That plan did nothing but gave away that the Furious 5 are getting smaller roles in each movie after KF2. It would have been a perfect throwback to Master Uwe choosing Poe as the Dragon Warrior and how Tigress has helped Poe to be a good fighter and best friend. You can still have the Furious 5 and Jen as part of the journey and candidates. You don't have to sacrifice any options. So now that I got that out of my system, how do the characters that we have in the movie hold up? For the main character Poe, he is still the lovable panda that likes to eat and loves Kung Fu, but now he has to face the inevitable that he must give up his Dragon Warrior title to someone else so he can become the spiritual leader. Although the formula does get repetitive, Poe is still a charming character and does learn a lesson about adapting to the changes in his life. The only character they brought back to the Jade Palace is his teacher, Master Shifu, who is still the wise mentor that has to deal with Poe's incompetence much to his annoyance. And if you're still bummed that the Furious 5 aren't going to join Poe on his journey, there are some familiar characters that have decided to go with him. Poe's adopted dad, Mr. Ping, and his biological dad, Li. They are more like the comic reliefs who are concerned about Poe's safety on finding the chameleon and want to follow him to make sure he's okay. The jokes for them are pretty funny, where Li tries to look and act like his son, while Mr. Ping is the paranoid parent, but he, alongside Shifu, carries the message of change. Then there are the new characters, starting with Zhen. She begins as the old trope that the thief decides to become a good person after Poe teaches her that stealing is wrong and talks down to her on doing the right thing. Although Zhen has a good personality and voice acting, it's just Awkwafina being Awkwafina instead of Zhen. And then there is the villain of the film, the Chameleon. So this is a mid-take about this new threat. I think this villain is awesome and better than Kai from Kung Fu Panda 3. Sure, Tai Lung and Lord Zhen are better Kung Fu Panda villains, and her evil motive doesn't really make sense when you think about it, but the Chameleon is a very entertaining antagonist, with her sorcery powers on shapeshifting and unsettling intimidation by Viola Davis' performance. She seems like a Kung Fu Panda baddie that you do not want to mess with. Oh yeah, there was another missed opportunity in the movie didn't promise that much, and that's Tai Lung. With the Chameleon releasing him from the Spirit Realm, you'd think he could have been a recruit alongside the other villains on defeating Poe a la League of Villains. Unfortunately, that's not the case. She just immediately wants his Kung Fu powers to take over the world. The only element that has zero flaws in the movie is the animation. Even if this is the 4th movie of the series, the animation still doesn't hold back on its incredible visuals and fighting scenes. With the character animation, they fully display what these characters can do with these over-the-top expressions and especially the action scenes. Sometimes they go with the usual martial arts, but other times they do think outside the box for Poe and Zhen on defeating the bad guys. The animal designs are also really good, like their textures and introducing new animals to the series like more reptiles, an elephant, and especially that pelican with a fish. Another moment in the animation that really shines is with the Chameleon's shape-shifting powers. They display her full transformation and some special effects to keep her alarming nature. Even the backgrounds look amazing by introducing to new areas like the Happy Bunny Tavern as an unstable bar on the edge of a cliff, the Secret Thief Hideaway where Zhen used to reside, and Juniper City as this really busy city covering non-stop traffic. And during the running time, the animators do display multiple visuals to keep the animation in Kung Fu Panda fresh, like the camera angles during the fighting scenes, several frame shots that make a scene look like a graphic novel, or one scene where Po fights the chameleon's guards in smokes and shadows. I also give credit that the scenes with Po's psyche are pretty surreal and funny, whether it be talking to himself or Master Shifu as his conscience. So after going through the story, animation, and characters, did I really need another Kung Fu Panda movie after the end of 3? No. But do I still have an enjoyable time watching this as an anime martial arts movie? Weirdly, yes. Kung Fu Panda 4 has several problems with a predictable story and some wasted potential. It ended up being the weakest of the series. Is it boringly predictable as Shrek the Third? No. Is it painfully predictable and pointless as Trolls Band Together? Not even close. It's just an okay movie. Just a simple, fun, okay movie. To be fair, the animation is still nice, there are still some great acting scenes, and even some of the characters are likable with some talented voice acting. Overall, I only recommend this movie to fans of the Kung Fu Panda series. However, I really suggest you should lower your expectations on this. But at the end of the day, I don't regret seeing this or having a soft side over it because I still have a fun time with it. I'm going to give Kung Fu Panda 4 a B. In conclusion, I do categorize KF4 as one of the good fourth movies, top 2 behind Toy Story 4. There are several problems with it, sure, but there are still some good components that are worth enjoying, even remembering. I really don't know how I feel if they plan to make more sequels in the future. It's way too early to jump to any conclusions. But if they're really going to continue with this new Dragon Warrior journey, my best recommendation for Kung Fu Panda 5 is to not hold back on any significant ideas. What I mean is, don't be a Kung Fu Panda 4, be a Kung Fu Panda 2. I'm Mad Hatter Patrick. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm going to play a game of Mahjong. Thanks for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, check out these other videos, or feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for more upcoming reviews and other projects. I'll see you soon.